Sugarpova, so tell us, so you were the CEO from the beginning.
Yeah.
And so how did that, because we got a lot of, again, that was the classic side hustle. I'm going to be the number one tennis player in the world, and I'm going to be CEO of a candy consumer company.
I had a major sweet tooth from a very young age. I grew up in my grandmother's kitchen, and although I knew, what it takes to be a pro athlete, I also enjoyed moments of indulgence, of like sitting back in the kitchen and baking and sweets. And when I came to the United States, I saw this selection of gummies. And I was like, whoa, I've never seen that back home in Russia. And I would take little souvenirs. And that idea of just something different and the confectionery space fascinated me. And so I decided to invest some of my money to start it and become the CEO of it. And I will say at the time, I didn't really have a vision for it. I didn't really understand where I would be in 5-10 years. When someone asks you, well, what do you see it in 10 years? And I was like, oh, I just want to learn from this. But it's been a fascinating journey, and I'm having a lot of fun along the way.
Well, it's truly that that's the entrepreneur's attitude, where most athletes are like, how much are you going to give me to get involved in this? You're actually putting your own money in. Let's talk about, so you're now involved in, about a half dozen different businesses. Let's talk about, Sugarpova was always fun to me. Again, as you said, you've got, an elite professional athlete who has a sweet tooth. Tonal seems more on, quote unquote, on brand. Tell us that evolution.
Yeah, during the course of my career, health and wellness was a space that I was just very familiar with, because in many ways I felt like I was a guinea pig to a lot of founders and a lot of companies, and I would get like gadgets that seemed so strange, that would measure your heart rates and that would do all these strange things, or you'd work out with them, and I'd be like, no, because I was very practical in my approach. Like, I try to think of, you only need a couple of things. You don't need 10 things or 20 things to travel with. And when I met Ali, the founder of Tonal, and got to know his vision on strength training, which is actually an interesting story, because as an athlete and growing up in tennis...
Did they come to you, or did you go to them?
I met one of their board members at a business conference while I was networking. That's what they call it.
Stuff happens at conferences, guys. So there you go.
Exactly. This is the beauty of it. And my approach to strength was very different in the early days of my career, where I just thought about repetition and putting time on the court and just getting the hours in there. And when my my shoulders specifically started breaking down, I realized that I wasn't working on my muscle strength. And speaking to Ali and his thought process of how strength becomes the foundation of every other thing that you do in your fitness, just really like it was everything that I had started to think in my middle 20s, and I really believed in. And so I got behind the company, and I got behind him as a founder, because I loved the mission that he was on, and he was so competitive. And I think those are the commonalities that I draw from my sport, is who am I going to find that's going to be just as competitive as I am.
So